Hey everyone, today I'm going to go through a bit of a quick introduction to Office 365 and some of the capabilities that you might not be using beyond Outlook and how all this stuff works really well when we're having to work from home. So when you log on, this is my my own tenancy. You can see down here we've got some recommend files and stuff. I use OneNote a lot, so we've got lots of different things that we're working on. So this is the main login screen that you get for Office 365. It's probably very familiar for everyone. So I'm going to cover off a couple of things. First off is obviously Outlook. This is where pretty much a lot of things happen and come together. OneDrive, most of us are familiar with. We've got the various Office applications that we can play around with. These are in browser, which is really useful for those situations where you want to make some quick edits, or you're working on a PC that doesn't necessarily have the Office 365 applications installed, which we can solve up here if we just go and download and install and be happy. We've got SharePoint, which is our area where we go and play with sort of team and shared drives. Now this sort of comes into its own when we start talking about Office 365 groups. Everything gets dropped and creates a new site here in SharePoint, which then starts connecting stuff together. We've got Teams, so if you've heard of Slack, which is a collaboration tool for chat and other things, there's also a Teams client, which I'll show you later. I'll just get that started whilst we're talking. Bookings, now this is quite useful if you've got a small business and you want to have online bookings. Sorry, we'll just get Teams to bugger off there. So you might have heard of Calendly or other things for you can better. Okay, probably should have started this up before we started into this. So bookings, I'll show you in that very briefly, is a way that we can allow people to book our time and schedule meetings with us. So that connects into your calendar. You can set up team members, etc. for that. I'm going to ignore Dynamics 365 for the moment. I've got a really great friend of Jill Walker here in Sydney that's known to quite a lot of people in the Dynamics space, as well as other organisations that play around with that. That's sort of your business side, your CRM and your financial systems. I don't really play with that area, though I do have a lot of experience within the CRM platform. Power Automate, this is the old Microsoft Flow. Microsoft's renamed it. Everything's going power this, power that. And a couple of other little apps that we can see here: To Do, Whiteboard, Planner, and Stream. Now, To Do is just a simple to-do list that you can create, and you can manage all of those things. Whiteboard is where we can just sort of share and draw different things, imagining a virtual whiteboard. Instead of you physically being able to connect with your whiteboards and draw things up on a board so we can all talk about it, we can actually draw these in here virtually. Now the difference between this and OneNote, for example, is that your whiteboards are a virtual shared space, right? So we can actually collaboratively work on those ones. Now you can get access to this within Teams, but we'll get to that one later. Planner. Now, if you're in the Google ecosystem, you've probably come across a system called Trello. Now, I actually use the Trello myself for various things, but I've found that I'm gravitating towards more of the Microsoft ecosystem. We've got Planner in there, which is equivalent to Trello. Now, there are differences in the way things work, but it's a quick and easy way. If you're familiar with Trello, then Planner can actually help you out there. And Stream, which is a great way where you can actually go and share videos and other type things. There's a whole bunch of other apps, but we'll look at those ones later as we go. So, first off, let's jump into Teams. Now, the reason I'm going through Outlook, the reason I'm going through the web-based one is this is very familiar for everyone, irrespective of client. Now, as you might be guessing, I'm running a Mac down here and we've got lots of different things that we can do with that, but this is a consistent way of actually getting access to things. So as you can see, we've got our usual announcements and alerts, and everything works in a very similar way. What I wanted to show you here more than anything else was, I'm just going to move my little video out the way, is groups. Now groups is your way that you can actually now start bringing your teams together. I'd actually recommend that we create a separate group for each core department. You might have a sales or a marketing team. You might have a a delivery or project management team, or a services, or a variety of different teams. They don't necessarily have to be the same functional group, but this is a group of people that are working together on something. Very quick and easy. We'll just go into a little demo site that I've got here. And you can see here that I've got this connected in with Trello, and it's sending emails to my demo site. So when I make a card, we can create an item in an email message in here. So this is just recording that message that was created. So I have this concept of death by 1,000 paper cuts, which is really a way of thinking about all the little things that we do that we just really want to try to minimize all those little things that happen, the simple actions. At the moment we've got COVID-19 and we're literally getting thousands of these emails from every company you've ever registered with every single day. So I've created a simple Outlook rule to put it into a separate folder. I don't junk it or delete it, I just put it into a separate folder so I can know that this is a specific marketing email related to COVID-19, and then I can deal with that in a more process-orientated manner. Now, most of them, it's regurgitating the same stuff and just saying how that particular organization is dealing with this particular situation. But some of them is, there's a little bit more to do. So you can just very quickly process it, and you can set aside maybe half an hour a day, or if you like at one point an hour each day, to actually go through and scan and action these ones if you wish. So we can actually now segment what we're doing. This, when we go into Power Automate, we can actually automate this stuff even further, but I won't dig into that too much further. At the moment we can do things like, okay, we can send emails from here. This is a private group, only certain people can be in here. We can go to the group files. Now this is effectively OneDrive, or the shared drives for that. We can see that there's a bunch of files in here. This is an example PowerPoint document. Sorry if I'm going too fast, you can go back and slow down the recording. And you can see we've got our sample slide. We can do everything that we might want to do in here. We can go and edit, etc. if we wish, or open into a, click up here. Again, this is all in the browser. This is in Google Chrome. You don't need any special apps and you can do stuff. Right? It's kind of cool. So we can start adding in text. It's immediately saved. And we can see who made those changes. Pretty cool. So we can download this file, or we can just say, you know what, we can go back and open up any additional files. You can see here some of these ones are files that I've opened up locally on my PC, or within the actual application itself. So I'm going to go back up here to Outlook. No, oops. Close that file. We're back to where we are. So these are the files related to that particular team. Now as you can see that there's folders and everything. Again, I'm still inside of Outlook. Just to prove a point, I'm going to jump over here into my desktop client, and we can see exactly the same thing. It is rendered slightly differently, but that's okay. Now I do a bit of software development, so I tend to like the dark screens rather than the white, but we can change this if we want to different colors. Now obviously in this particular client it's going to be, oh no, Yep. Darn it. Should have checked this earlier. Now, funnily enough, the Windows version of Outlook works a lot better. It actually does provide you with these same links that we've got here across the top. We've got a group calendar, which takes us across into the Outlook calendar view for this particular event. You'll see that it's got all of my calendars mixed in here, as well as a few other calendars. So we can switch them around and turn them on and off, etc. So I can specifically create one for new event. Oop. New event, pick which particular calendar I want it to be in. We can see it's color coded, so we know which particular calendar we're in. So these are just very simple little ways that we can actually go and create. So I'm going to create one down here for next month so it doesn't get upset with me. To switch to a different calendar. Test event. Right, we can invite, which will immediately switch it through to a meeting request. We can specify rooms, etc. And that's pretty much it. We now have an event created. Very simple, very easy. If I come back into my Outlook client, I can achieve the same sort of thing just by switching through the different. Okay, this is going to make a liar of me because Mac is a second-class citizen. That's annoying. Alright. Cool. So, again, this is the experience you'll get on the Windows client. Okay, you can know my location. Cool. When I go back in here, you'll see that we've got a little drop down, we've got a notebook, we've got planner, we can go to the actual site or we can go to settings. Now I'm going to jump across to the site. This is me. I have lots of different identities, which I'm glad Microsoft have actually allowed that to happen. It makes life so much easier. So this is my demo site. This is out of the box, haven't customized it other than picked a color and that's about it, and dropped just for reference this Bing map in here so we can actually show that we can put in lots and lots of different web parts. This is just SharePoint. So we've got the conversations, which was those that email list, so it's going to take us back to Outlook. Don't want to do that. We've got the actual documents. Various pages. We've got a notebook. We can see what's been shared with us. So we've got the demo site notebook coming up. So this is OneNote, which is associated with that. This is a great little power hack for when you're working within Teams. You can create a little OneNote here, so you can actually capture notes, etc., specifically for that team. You can share and collaborate on these particular notes. You can create your own. Every individual could have a different section, or it could be focused against a different activity or function, etc., and you're just collecting notes. Now, this becomes really useful when you start bringing it into meetings and stuff, and it's just maybe someone's the note taker of some of these things. There's lots and lots of different ways you can leverage this. Now, this is then available to you when you connect it up onto your mobile device, your laptop, or your desktop client. So it's pretty much available in lots of different places. So I'm just going to go back to the demo site. And now we're going to jump across into Teams. Why do I want to go to Teams? So I'm going to actually open this in Teams. And no. Okay, so now we've got our actual Teams site, etc., that we're actually this is again like Slack, so we can actually introduce more people, we can create more channels within that, and we can start having a conversation. So in these, it's just My internet's obviously gone very slow. What's going on? This is what happens when you don't do your sacrifices. There we go. So we've got our message. I don't know why that didn't come up. So we can reply to those messages and those discussions. If you want to then break off into sub-discussions, etc., it's really just about creating a channel. Standard access it to everyone in the team, or you can actually make it private for certain ones. You can say, yeah, automatically make that available on the list. So this is a channel within that particular site. Now the reason you want to do this is so you can actually break those conversations apart. We can add in planner tabs, notepads. There's a whole pile of different tabs that we can actually use for these particular items. So you'll note up here, we've got files. This will take a few moments. And it'll actually show the files associated with this channel, which again is stored back in the demo site. So anyone who has access to the demo site will be able to come back over here. And if I just go back, hope you're keeping up. We'll have a look in the documents. You'll see there's a general and then there's a sub-discussion. These ones here are associated with our particular channel of files that we've got here. This works in exactly the same way as you would expect it to work within SharePoint or a file share. If you prefer to have it locally, we can just click up here and sync, and it's going to open up OneDrive and sync that for me, so these files are available offline. So I've got a whole pile of stuff. We've got our demo site documents. There we go. These files are available offline. The really cool thing about this is you'll see that there's a little cloud here, and that means that it's not available actually locally. It will download those files as we need them. Okay, so that's optimizes your storage. So we've got access to all these files. This is within my browser, etc. Come on. Okay. We can create. There's a wiki tab, which is by default. Anyone who understands wikis, most people don't. I've got no idea how they work, but it's about an organic sort of interconnected files, right? We're not going to go down in that path. There's plenty of Google and YouTube videos that you can go through to give you a bit of an idea how wikis work. And then we can add various tabs. So we can bring in Power BI, DevOps, libraries, etc. So we can actually start bringing everything together in one place. Why is this important? The reason this is important is that you've got one place to go to have these conversations. Now, ideally you could think, well, we could actually just send these messages around email, but email is very noisy. It's very chatty, etc. And it's very easy to get content and context lost. Sitting within here, within Teams, we can actually now start to have a historic record of things. So let's say we've got 4 team members today, and we have these long conversations discussing what we're going to do, why we're not going to do certain things, what we're going to do tomorrow, etc. All these different things, and we hire someone else and we bring a 5th person into the team, or an external party in on that team. Now they can go back in history and they can actually go and check to see how this stuff is working. They can actually see what was said and why. It also stops that situation where someone forgets to reply all, or they have a private response. Now we can still do that if you want. I can actually send a private response to someone just by coming up into a chat, right? And we can have a private chat around that particular thing. Now some of these people here are actually external to my particular business. There's a calendar that we have access in here, and it's going to show you these particular calendar invites that I've got, and I can actually see what's going on here. So you could actually argue I could switch away from Outlook and I could play here in Team. We could meet now, right? Meeting with Andy. This is going to actually set up a meeting and join now, and then I can have other people join. All right. We can create a new meeting and it will be a Teams meeting. We can schedule this as a live event so other people can actually come in. Really, really great, really, really easy. Everyone's using Zoom at the moment and that's getting overloaded. I actually find Teams is such an awesome platform. The video quality is actually really good. We can have various calls, so we can actually use this for making various phone calls, etc., using our device and making it as a voice call. Now, if someone else is on Teams, at the moment, Teams is not interoperable with Skype for Business, or it is with Skype for Business, but not commercial Skype. You know, the general consumer based one, that's coming. And we can make calls to anyone who's on that and have it with the experience in here. Again, we've got our files that we can go and see which files we've been working on, where they are. We can see all our OneDrive, etc. We can also say, oh, okay, so I want to have a look in Planner. I'm going to come back to a little cool little thing that I think you might find useful. So in Planner, again, we've got all these various tasks that we're working on. So I could say, okay, that one's done, or I'm actually working on that, and we can move it around. You can see that this is a little bit like Trello. Yeah, what's this one? Oh, that's my due date. We can assign that to particular people, etc. I can come up here and I can create a, maybe not in this particular one, in the full client, we can actually go in and actually see within the item, or we can have a look at charts to see what we're working on. Again, this is really, really simple tools to sort of start to sort of work together. Now, for me, there's usually only myself and maybe a couple of other people I'm working with at any one time, but for larger organizations or larger teams, actually understanding what's going on and how we can actually manage all of this, we can start to sort of see what we're working on. We can actually start planning out the activities. Now, remember, when we're working remotely, let's not worry about the time we're doing things, let's worry about the physical tasks, the outcomes we want to have done. That's much more important than actually worrying about how many hours you're doing. Because at the end of the day, so long as you're delivering the output, which actually helps generate revenue and value for our organization and our clients, that's more important here. I'm just going to jump across to something that I thought was kind of cool that I came across the other day called shifts. For some organizations, we now need to schedule shifts of when people are going to be working. Now, this little tool, again, it's part of your subscription, your Office 365 subscription. I mean, I'm on the Pro version, the business version. E3 and E5, which are some of the other ones, are quite a lot larger. Now we can actually start scheduling of when people are going to be working. Now, if you have shift workers and you're trying to work out who's where when, guess what? Automatically done. You have a tool that you can actually do this. So we're going to put in a shift. We're going to add in an open shift. It's between 8 and 5, one slot, etc., custom label, etc. Add that activity. Bang, we're done. Shift activities. We'll say front counter. What are we doing for that particular shift? Done. So we know when we can actually build out these shifts. So we can actually say and start putting together. You saw that there's things like paid, not paid, really good for scheduling your particular team. Now, we've gone to a virtual world right now because of COVID-19, right? There's no getting around this. So some of this stuff might not be appropriate. However, you might be running shifts of people where you need to say half my team are in the office, half aren't. How are we actually going to break this down? So very, very quickly, we can start getting an idea and start doing some very quick planning for what shifts are available. So I can, I'm guessing, I can add a shift there. This is an open shift. So I'm going to assign this to me. Boom. There we go. So you could put a whole pile of shifts and actually plan those in the OpenShifts, allow people to assign that, or you assign it. Now there's nuances here with permissions, etc., but you can sort of see where I'm going. If you dig deeper into it, there might be some various requests and other settings and stuff. I haven't played with this. I think this is a really powerful tool that you just get for free within the Office 365 ecosystem. This is a very quick helicopter tour of everything that we've got here. I'm just going to go back to one other little thing that I think is going to be useful for a lot of people, that I think is of value, that is underrated within Office 365, and that's bookings. Everyone else is using Calendly or other little tools to actually do your calendar. Guess what? If you're in the Microsoft ecosystem, you have it already. Okay, you can actually set up your own bookings. You can create a calendar, add buffer time, etc. So we've got our calendar, we're linking in. You can see I've got my logo up here. We can have a look at how we're going to configure the bookings page, all of that sort of stuff. But we can specify any customers that might come in. That's new, and any staff, and we can actually assign these staff, etc. I've since renamed my company, so that's etc. And we can specify various services. So if you're a service-based organization, you've got free consults or other things, you can actually set these up. You might have paid slots that people can book you in for. So you can actually put these things in and they can request what sort of services. You may be able to assign you can assign certain staff to certain services. So you might have, let's say you've got 10 people in your organization, and 3 do one particular service, you've got another 3 doing another, and the rest kind of are a bit of a general consult type thing. And you've got these 3 different services that you offer, and you assign these. I'm thinking this might be awesome for an accountant to say, well, what sort of service am I looking for? Or a lawyer or something else that has many different types of services that you might provide. Now you can put this up very, very quickly. There's some business information that we can put in here that gives you an idea of all the various, your open hours, your logo, how you charge, what your type of business, terms and conditions, policies. I'm a bit slack, I haven't done that yet. But the key thing here is once you've published this particular page, I can copy this drop this in here, and we have a bookings. My internet's going slow for a reason. Oh I'll wait for that to spin up. So we have, when that does pop up, we can actually, so we can connect this into Facebook. That's again something new. Microsoft's adding new stuff to this all the time. You can control access. Disable direct search if you wish. You can personal data collection. This, I would assume, would be for GDPR and the cookies requirements that in some jurisdictions. We can schedule certain policies. At the moment I've set it for time increments of 30 minutes, minimum lead time 24 hours, maximum lead time 365 days. Right? Email notifications, we can allow people to choose their staff, you book when staff are available, and there's a whole pile of different sort of settings we can have. I think in this one here, there's other things. There's a specific page. Again, this is new. Microsoft's changing this stuff all the time on me. Default location, you can add an online meeting now. Again, that's new. Awesome. And we can set a buffer time if we want, and let the customer manage their own booking. Again, this stuff's new. It's crazy. This stuff is just blowing my mind. We've got automation here in terms of reminders and confirmations. I don't have to go out and get all of these scheduling apps and these email automation systems. I've got it right here. So why don't we use this stuff? So cool. I'm just going to update this. This sounds cool. I'm just going to go back over here, see if it needs me to publish it. It's all published. I should be able to. I'll refresh this. Here's my initial consult saying, right, I want to book an initial consult. Say 3 p.m. on the 31st of March. Actually, there's a time slot here. Put in our details, and we can book. Great, eh? Very, very easy. Right? This will send an email to the person and automatically book my calendar for me. It'll also remind them as the booking coming up. It'll also remind me that I've got a meeting scheduled to come up. Again, this is out of the box. If you've got Office 365, I implore you, please take advantage of all of this stuff. There is so much here, and I'm discovering, as we see right now, more and more really cool stuff every time I dig in. So on that, I think this is a great way to start. I'm just going to finish here. I hope you enjoyed this particular little introduction. It's been rapid fire around the whole Office 365 ecosystem. My first attempt at doing this sort of stuff. I really hope you enjoy it. I kind of enjoyed it myself, so let's do this again. Bye for now.